Is your doctor ignoring your chronic pain? Are they dismissing it? Are they telling you that you're just lazy or that you're crazy? Are they telling you it's your fault, that if you just did something different, then everything would be better, and basically, here's some pills, go figure it out on your own? If your doctor isn't taking your chronic pain seriously, then you need a new doctor. I'm Dr. Anthony Davis, and I want to make this video because I had a response from a viewer on a recent video that I made about chronic pain and how to fix chronic pain, that I believe the message that I intended to deliver was not the message that was received, at least by this individual. And it really bothered me to feel that this was not, that I didn't deliver the hopeful message that I wanted to. I want to deliver a hopeful message about chronic pain. That is 100% my intention. And if anything other than that came across, I'm very sorry for that. So the comment that this viewer made was to essentially say that it sounded like I was saying in this video that I was trying to be hopeful, and yet I still came across apparently as sounding like I was blaming people with chronic pain for being lazy, for being sedentary, for eating crappy food and being overweight, or which I never even said anything about weight. But somehow I must have elicited this idea that I thought that people with chronic pain were just lazy, overweight, ate crappy food, didn't want to exercise, and didn't want to do basic things to take care of themselves. Well, let me set the record straight. That is not at all the case. That is not the message I want to deliver, and that is not what I believe, and that has not been my experience with patients in chronic pain. I've worked with a lot of patients who have chronic pain, people who have fibromyalgia, people who have chronic regional pain syndrome, that's CRPS, and with people who have chronic systemic demyelinating motor neuron diseases, and everything in between. And I understand that chronic pain is complex. Chronic pain has many different causes, and chronic pain has many different solutions. And I believe that regardless of the cause behind your chronic pain, that you deserve to have your pain taken seriously by your doctor and not ignored. Your doctor should not be ignoring your chronic pain. And I also want to say, for the record, that regardless of the cause of your chronic pain is real. Your experience is real. So here are some of the ways that it can sound like a doctor is ignoring your chronic pain. Sometimes they tell you that your pain is all in your brain, and that you're and that is perceived as though you're just making it up, that it's all in your head. It's just an emotion and you're just being too sensitive. Well, of course that sounds like a terrible message, and your doctor should not be saying that to you. However, I want to help people understand a little bit about what it's like to be on the other side of the fence, what it's like being a healthcare provider who's trying to communicate information about chronic pain. It's a really delicate topic because some doctors are crappy. Some doctors are mean people and they don't understand what it's like to have chronic pain, and so they're not sensitive at all to your experience. So they do genuinely believe that for some reason your pain is basically just made up. And those people are bad people. Those people are bad doctors. However, there are a lot of healthcare providers who do a lot of research on chronic pain and work with a lot of people who have chronic pain, myself included. And when you really research a lot about chronic pain, you start to understand that there is a really strong mind-body connection to chronic pain. Now, if you try to communicate this to people, it's a really difficult thing to communicate, because let's say, so I'm a healthcare provider, and if I tell somebody who has chronic pain that there is a mind-body connection of some kind, that stress amplifies pain, depression and anxiety amplify pain, and pain amplifies stress and anxiety and depression. And so there's this back and forth relationship between our mental health and our experience of pain. If I try to communicate that to somebody, then it's very hard to communicate that without it sounding like I'm telling them that their pain is in their brain. Well, I'll make a video that's gonna be released immediately after this video about the question of, is pain in the brain? Because it's a complex topic and I wanna do it justice and give nuance, because it's not black and white. What I'm saying is that some doctors are trying to communicate genuinely good information about chronic pain, and it sometimes comes across, well, they just do a bad job, and it's a miscommunication where they're trying to help and they say stuff that's technically true, but they say it in a way that sounds like an attack. And I just want to say, if I've ever done that to any patient, which I know I have, it's been an accident, it's been unintentional, it's been not what I wanted to communicate. And I do understand, and I do take your pain seriously, and I want to help you find a solution. Now, the other thing that I want to say about ignoring somebody's pain is that some doctors will say, okay, well, it's just in your head, so get over it, or you're just lazy, you're sedentary, it's your fault, basically. Well, I want to clarify what I said in a previous video about chronic pain, where I was talking about the idea of chronic pain being sort of like a person drowning in the ocean and trying to reach out for help. And the idea that, well, what if this person was drowning, but it was in shallow water, but they didn't know it because it was dark water, and they need education, they need to have some help to be educated that this is actually a safe place for you to stand up. It's going to be okay. And then they need to exercise. So education and exercise are two really important components of chronic pain. They're not a magic bullet. They're not just going to cure you all of a sudden, but they are two absolutely essential parts of chronic pain management. There are many. Chronic pain needs to be managed in a multifactorial approach. So the idea that somebody was drowning and they just can't see under the water, so they didn't know that it was shallow water. Well, this is not saying that this person hasn't tried to save themselves, because that's the thing with chronic pain. You live with it for so long, of course you're going to try everything. You're going to try this type of exercise, that type of exercise, this type of diet, that type of diet, this way to sleep, these supplements, tracking your pain, tracking your exercise, keeping a pain journal. Many people have tried all of these things. They'll try going to chiropractors, acupuncturists, physical therapists, medical doctors, naturopaths, etc. They've tried what it seems like everything. But even when you think that you've tried everything, I'm not trying to oversimplify by saying that, oh, well, all you need is education and exercise. So I'm not ignoring your chronic pain. What I want to say is that sometimes what happens with chronic pain is that you will become expectant that a certain exercise, a certain way of exercising, that could be picking up heavy weights, that could be bending your body into a particular position, but whatever it is, your body begins to expect that certain activities are associated with pain. And naturally, you don't want to do those activities because they hurt. And so a lot of times, not all times, but a lot of times, you will begin to avoid those movements. And that actually makes chronic pain worse, for the record. For all the research clearly shows that if you begin to associate something with pain and then you avoid that thing, your chronic pain will become even worse. So that's why I say education, that whatever that thing is, if there is a thing for you that you're avoiding, that thing is safe most of the time. So education, and then exercise, meaning, well, if it's safe, then we have to slowly expose the body to doing that activity a little bit at a time, totally within your comfort zone. And then that allows your body and mind to adapt to the new activity in a way that you can become stronger and more resilient. So even the question of, is your doctor ignoring your chronic pain, even that is not a black and white thing, right? Because yeah, some doctors suck and they really are ignoring your pain, and you should find a new doctor. It's also important though to understand that there are a lot of really well-meaning and well-researched doctors that are trying to help. And sometimes we fumble with our words and we don't communicate what we're trying to communicate. But I hope that we can work together, right? Whether that's me working with maybe you, or you working with your healthcare provider, and that you and whoever's on your team, that we can have good communication, because I think that is the key, right? Because It can sometimes feel, when you have chronic pain, like you've got all these providers that you've seen in the past, and that many of them have been attacking you or dismissing you or ignoring you. And then you find another person who, oh, now they're talking about stress again. Okay, great, they're ignoring my pain. Well, maybe. Or maybe if we can communicate better, and if we can all share better information and be sensitive to each other's emotional state and state of suffering, but also that if we can have that be a two-way street, that we can really move forward together on the same team and help you to manage your own chronic pain. Chronic pain does have a solution. Regardless of the cause of your pain, there's always something that you can do to either completely recover from your chronic pain, which is common and absolutely possible, or at least to lessen the severity and the impact that your pain has on your life. There is always a solution. There is always something that you can do on your own with education and then taking some form of action. In the next video, immediately after this one, I will be releasing a video answering the question of, is your chronic pain in your brain? That is, again, kind of a complex topic. Let's talk about it next time. Please comment if you have anything to share about your experience, or if you disagree with anything that I've said. I really do welcome your feedback, and I like to have this discussion. This was a reply to a comment that somebody made, so let's keep the discussion alive. Movement is medicine. I'll see you in another video.